Ciao a tutti! Hi everybody! Welcome back to my channel. Or welcome to the channel if it's the first time that you're watching a video with me. Benvenuti! If you have already seen my website at italianlanguagehub.com, you might already know that not only do I teach Italian, but I also teach English to Italians and that I'm a freelance translator. Why am I telling you this? Well, because recently I was doing one of my lessons and one of my students was super confused with those words like no, any, nothing, anything, and so on. And I thought to myself, wow, yeah, that is really complicated. And so I said, if it's complicated for the Italians learning English, it's for sure complicated also for my wonderful Italian students. So I said, hey, it's time for me to create a video lesson on this. So what are we talking about today? Today we're going to be talking about nessuno, niente, nulla. Those words can be incredibly confusing, but hopefully with this lesson you will master them. Always remember that you can download the lesson in PDF by clicking on the link below. If you don't like to click on any links, go on my website. You have the blog with everything written out for you on that, okay? Without further ado, let's start learning nessuno, niente, nulla. So, nessuno, nessuna, nessun can be translated to no or any in English, okay? But obviously it cannot be just so easy, right? So let's break things down. Let's start with nessuno. Nessuno can be either an adjective or a pronoun. When you're using nessuno as an adjective, it will be placed before the noun and it will have the translation of any. For example, non ho nessun amico. You have amico, which is your noun. Right before it, you place nessun. Non hai nessuna riunione oggi. Once again, you have riunione, which is your noun. Right before it, you put nessuna. As you probably have already understood from those two examples, you will need to match nessun with gender. You're lucky because it doesn't have a plural version, so we're only going to be focusing on gender. And this means that you have 4 different forms to nessun. Let's look at them. Nessun will be used with masculine nouns. When you're adding an O at the end, so you have nessuno, will actually be used as a pronoun and the meaning will change. It will become a meaning that can translate to no one, nobody. Nessuna will be used with feminine nouns. Nessun with a little apostrophe will be used with feminine nouns when that feminine noun begins with a vowel. Now this is where it gets confusing. Please take note of this and be very careful. The English word any can also be translated to the Italian word qualsiasi. Okay? When any means no matter which. Let me give you an example. If you ask me, what candy do you want? And I answer any, I'm saying, oh, it doesn't matter which one. You can give me any, okay? Any means I don't care. You can choose for me, okay? In Italian, you can translate this to quale caramella vuoi? Qualsiasi. Okay? So I will not use nessuno, niente, nulla, and so on. I will use qualsiasi every time I have to translate any when any in English means no matter which. Oh my goodness, this was so hard. Okay, don't panic. Rewatch the video or look at the PDF and I'm sure it will make sense. But I'm sorry. Nessuno, nessuna, and so on will be translated to any when you have a negative sentence, like with the examples that we saw before. So let's take those examples again. Non ho nessun amico. I don't have any friend. The sentence is a negative sentence, okay? You have a negative verb. Non hai nessuna riunione oggi. You don't have any meeting today, okay? So when you have a negative sentence, and by negative I mean that the verb is negative, so you have don't, okay? That's what I mean when I say negative. Then your nessuno, nessuna will translate to any, okay? Just be careful with that little exception of qualsiasi, all right? Okay, so remember that at the beginning I told you that you can use these words as adjectives or pronouns. We have looked at what they are and how they can be used when we're using them as adjectives. Now let's focus on using them as pronouns. When you have nessuno, nessuna, and you're using them as pronouns, they translate to nobody, no one, none, anybody, anyone. When it's used as a pronoun, it will refer to a person, and you will need to use a verb at the third person singular. Let's look at some examples. Non c'è nessuno. In this case, if you're focusing on the verb, you will notice that it's a è, so it's the verb to be. The verb to be conjugates. Io sono, tu sei, lui, lei, è. So that's your third person singular, okay? Non c'è nessuno. Nessuno è venuto. Nobody came. Nessuno di noi parla portoghese. None of us, nobody here, speaks Portuguese. If nessuno is at the beginning of the sentence, you don't need to add another extra negative particle. So you don't need to add the extra non. So you can say nessuno è venuto, and that's perfect. Or you can say non è venuto nessuno. So when you're placing nessuno at the end, you necessarily need to add that little extra non at the beginning of the sentence. So if it's at the beginning, no need to add non. If it's not at the beginning, but it's at the end, your formula will be non plus the verb plus nessuno. What about niente? Niente translates to nothing or anything, and it's referred to things. Let's look at some sentences. Qui non c'è niente da vedere. There is nothing to see here. Non ho trovato niente di quello che mi serviva. I didn't find anything that I needed here. Now, what about nulla? Well, nulla is simply a synonym of niente, so they're interchangeable. You can either use niente or nulla, which means that you can say qui non c'è nulla da vedere, or non ho trovato nulla di quello che mi serviva. Just like for nessun, also for niente and nulla, your usual formula is non plus verb plus nulla. If you're placing nulla at the beginning of the sentence, you don't need the extra particle non. For example, nulla di interessante. So I have nulla at the beginning of the sentence. I'm not adding anything else. Or I can say non ho nulla di interessante da aggiungere. In this case, I have nulla, the end of the sentence, or towards the end of the sentence, and so I need the particle non, okay? This is it for today. I know I gave you lots of information. Hopefully I didn't confuse you too much. Write a comment if you need more information on this topic, or download my PDF with all of this wonderful information. I will see you next week. Mwah, un bacio. Ciao!